Dana White was on. He was on Howie Mandel's podcast, and he gets up and leaves. And there's a lot of speculation as to why. Something to do with the comedian Ginger Billy, maybe. I don't understand. There was speculation on Howie Mandel referenced his wife. He's sick of podcasts. It's just BS, and it's all for publicity.
Who knows?
Who knows? We don't know. But it's gone viral. It's kind of interesting, and it just got us thinking of other random, memorable live moments. Can you play the clip one more time, though, just to hear Howie Mandel? He's stroking Dana White, and then Dana White doesn't like something and leaves.
Dana White, you are an amazing guy. I can't thank you enough for being here. You and Ginger seem to be getting along. You are not only an amazing businessman, you are an inspiration. You are a philosopher. The way you do business, the way you conduct your business and your friendships and media is, I'm jealous. But Dana, I can't thank you enough for being here.
Thank you for all the kind words. I appreciate it. I am so tired of doing podcasts. I'm literally done with them. I'm not doing any more podcasts.
And he throws his headphones down, gets up, leaves, and everybody's like, what the heck? Wait, what happened?
So we ask you, when was the last time you witnessed something on live television, a live podcast, on the radio, anything where you're like, what just happened? Because there's a few that come to mind. You brought up back in the day when we were younger men.
I loved it. Look, as a little kid watching sports and seeing Jim Rome, because there's something about Jim Rome's confidence where it leaned on arrogance. He was very smug, Jim Rome, right? Is that safe and fair to say? Still one of the best. But he's
fair to say. That's super accurate.
Yeah,
Jim
right?
Rome's whole shtick is based on that he's smug.
He's just laying back there and he's talking to Jim Everett and he's like, yeah, Chris Everett. And then he goes, call me Chris one more time. Meaning the tennis star, Chris Everett.
Yeah.
And he goes, okay, Chris. And then Jim Everett, the quarterback, throws the table up. And it's like a little melee. And you're like, what? Is this real?
Wow.
'Cause as a little kid, you're just like, wow, that was so weird. And it always like baffled me as a kid. But Danny G, you swear this was always real, wasn't an act. Like that's a known fact, right?
Yeah. He almost jumped over the table, too.
Dude, it's a wild clip.
It was a great visual. And yeah, for years, I know a former Jim Rome producer, and he swears that was a real deal.
Yeah, I mean, Jim Rome had a set to do something like that back then. No?
I mean, seems like 20 years ago, but was it maybe a year ago? Where we're all watching the Oscars.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember all of us being like, yo, did Will Smith just get up and slap Chris Rock? And immediately...
And what did you think? You thought maybe it was staged.
Staged? And then you go to social media and everyone's like, fake, real, fake.
We were live we were on the air on a Sunday night show.
I do remember this.
Remember that? And we argued the whole night about whether it was real or not.
Like, what just happened?
Did I just say, what?
Yeah, so those moments, let's think about them. They don't have to be sports related, but hey, if they are, even better. 877-99 on Fox. Now, this is kind of a sports-related one, I remember. It involves one of your heroes, Rich, Hulk Hogan. He was on Richard Belzer's late-night show, and it was always that idea of wrestling's kind of fake. And I think Richard Belzer was sort of asking about the sleeper hold and what's involved.
This is something you bring up quite a bit. When we were kids, I just want to let this be known to anyone younger listening. Back in the 60s and 70s, before we were all born, wrestling was just like random dudes grappling. In the 80s and 90s, that's where wrestling became this billion-dollar industry. But there was this weird sense of what's real, what's fake. Well, I mean, we knew it was fake, but at the same time, are layers of it real? No one really knew. It was a weird time. And a lot of broadcasters would question it. And back then, all these wrestlers stayed in character. If the $1 Million Man went on a TV show, he went on as, I'm the $1 Million Man.
Right, they were selling
Man,
those gimmicks, and they leaned into him at a certain point.
If Macho Man Randy Savage went on Arsenio Hall, I went on as the Macho Man. He stayed in character. It was
like Pee Wee Herman and wrestlers. They were those people.
Yeah, like Paul Rubens, rest in peace. There was a time where he was permanently Pee Wee Herman.
Yeah, he was just Pee Wee.
And there was a clip.
I missed those gimmicks. So Hulk Hogan goes on Richard Belzer. You guys know him best from Law and Order, but he was a comedian and host. And he puts Richard Belzer in a sleeper hold, and Belzer goes out completely. He lets go of him, lets him fall. The dude cracks his skull, like completely falls back, knocked out. He gets up eventually. They got to smack him back to life. And he's like, all right, we'll be back with more. Richard Belzer. But, dude, it was one of the most awkward things I had seen at that time. Because you're like, is that real? And you can look it up on YouTube. Live moments that sort of shocked you. As a kid, they stand out the most. I got another one. Well, don't you have another wrestling one before I move on?
Back in the day, this is, again, probably before we were born, but I always remember seeing the clip. There was a wrestler, Dr. David Schultz. He was one of those, like, old school, like, badasses.
Yeah.
I believe it was a young John Stossel.
It was.
Questioned, like, yeah, is wrestling real or not? And I'm pretty sure I remember a clip where he's like, you think it's real?
Dude, like started smacking him,
beats
manhandling
him.
John Stossel, one of your favorite investigators. John Stossel smacked his mustache right off. Look it up. Look it up. He's smacking him on TV. I'll bring you a sports one into play. I saw it live. You're not going to believe me. Warner Wolf. Let's go to the videotape. Warner Wolf, one of your favorite broadcasters, sports broadcasters, was doing his plays of the week, and his teeth fell out on live TV. You're like, whoa, what in the hell? His teeth just fall out? Yes, they did.
They did.
That's one of my
Indeed.
favorite sports ones. But I remember as a kid, Rich, I didn't see this live, but I remember the news coverage of it. And it was so impactful. It's really a terrible story, so I don't want to harp on it. But, again, these things are memorable because they happened and no one expected it. A la Dana White just getting up and leaving. That was unexpected. What's his beef with Howie Mandel? Is there only room for one bald guy? If it's real, right?
Funny.
So, again, the Jim Rome stories. When I was a kid, there was a guy, a politician, that I think they had dirt on him or something. I think he was from Pennsylvania, and his name was R. Bud Dwyer. Look it up. And there's a reason I remember it and know it. He was a politician. I think they were going to, like, call him out on some shenanigans, and he's there on stage doing a press conference, and he goes, everybody stand back. On live TV. Kills himself on live television. And as a kid, you're like, whoa, like, what is that?
I remember the story.
And, you know, it was a major news story, so you're a little kid, and you're like, what the heck's that about? But so much impact on kids of the 80s that the band Filter, Hey Man, Nice Shot, is not about Kurt Cobain or Steph Curry. It's about this dude shooting himself on TV and just impacting people who saw it live. So,
I have another one.
Yeah.
Mike Tyson is being interviewed.
Oh, my goodness.
This is a great one.
Mike Tyson.
Do you know this one, Danny G?
Yeah, it's great.
Final.
Tyson's being interviewed, and
I mean, we could do a whole show just on his moments that happened live.
Mike Tyson's doing an interview on like a morning show. And they ask him about hanging out with a politician in Canada. And they go, is this politician okay hanging out with a convicted rapist? And Mike Tyson just loses. He goes,
Oh, he loses it.
you think you're a nice guy.
You come here saying like you're a nice guy, but you're a piece of S. You're just a piece of S.
And the guy's like, Mike, we're on
What?
live television.
Well, no, he's a stuffy host, like a fake phony host. Oh, Mike, well, oh, man, we're on live TV, Mike.
And Mike says,
What you gonna do about it? What you gonna do about
I remember
it?
I've seen that. I was like, what?
What you gonna do? And the guy's like, what are you gonna do
What
about it?
are you gonna do about it?
Nothing. I thought you were gonna talk about when Mike Tyson went off on Russ Salzberg, another sports broadcaster. You know, when Deion Sanders poured the water on
Champagne.
champagne
on Tim McCarver.
Tim McCarver's head. Like random live moments that had you saying, what?
I got one more that I'll throw out there.
What you gonna do about it?
I know it was an award show. Actually, there was an award show one, but the one that stuck out more to me. Do you remember when Steve Harvey
Oh, yeah.
announced the wrong winner
Yeah,
of
that
like,
was
what was it,
the
Miss
worst.
America or Miss US?
Miss Universe.
Miss Universe?
Yep.
And the winner, and he announced the wrong girl?
Yep,
So
yep.
bad, dude.
And in the same vein as that, I think it was the 2017 Oscars where they announced La La Land as the picture of the year, and Spot, was it Moonlight that was supposed to?
Moonlight,
Yeah, it was supposed to be the winner, and the cast, the producer, everybody from La La Land came up on the stage.
I got an early one that.
Wait, who messed that up though? What old school actor?
It was Warren Beatty.
Warren Beatty.
Warren
Warren
Beatty.
Beatty.
Yes,
Ah.
yes.
But how about like the start of Kanye West sort of being a Looney Tune? It was even before the Taylor Swift thing. And as you know,
Taylor, I'm gonna let you finish.
He has a new album out now. People are either loving or hating it. He has a new shoe out right now. Those weird moccasins, whatever they are. I don't know what they
He
are.
said he's uncancelable.
Uncancelable Kanye West before he got his $800,000 grill. Remember he was on that what was it, like a charity? He was with Mike Myers.
No, it was for Hurricane Katrina.
yeah, it was Katrina.
It was
Yes.
Hurricane Katrina relief.
And he's with Mike Myers.
And he's up there, and Mike Myers is doing all the, hey, if you want to contribute to the Red Cross and relief for Hurricane Katrina, call this number here and this and that. And then Kanye West comes in and goes, George Bush doesn't care about black people.
And Mike Myers was like, huh?
And then they cut right to Chris Tucker, remember?
So awkward.
And he's just
dude.
staring there with his bug eyes. He's like,
So, again, awkward, memorable live moments that, will forever have a place in your brain because they just seem so random. I'm not saying it's Dana White is one of them because we don't know if it's real yet, but it
Yeah,
definitely has
and-
that vibe of it.
And you know what? It's probably not close to being as memorable with some of the others, but it popped into both of our algorithms today. I'm like,
Got us
yo,
thinking.
Covino, did you see that Dana White like walking out? Because those are always interesting moments.